Mark Chase, and this is Chase Your Taste. Hey, before we get started, if you hadn't already done so, push that little subscribe button down there at the bottom. The little bell lets you know when I post one of these videos. And if you like this video, hey, give me a thumbs up. So today what I'm going to make for dinner is I'm going to make a steak with a Cajun shrimp sauce and some roasted Parmesan green beans. So what we're going to need for that is, of course, some green beans, some Parmesan cheese. This is freshly grated. I've got some breadcrumbs, garlic and onion powder, some lemon juice, and of course we have the steak. Now this is a ribeye steak. If you don't want to use ribeye, that's fine. You don't have to. Use whatever steak that you like. If you like a T-bone, hey, do a T-bone. So I also got my shrimp. I got some olive oil, some red roasted pepper, listen to me, red pepper flakes for a little bit of heat. I got some onion, some chopped garlic, some whole garlic, that's going to be for our steak. I got some aromatics here, I got some thyme, and I got some rosemary. I've got some Cajun seasoning. This is my Cajun seasoning. I made it. And I'll leave that in the description down there. We got some Dijon mustard, some low sodium chicken broth, some butter, and of course some whipping cream. So what do you say we get all this together? And first thing I'll show you how to do is we're going to get these green beans all set up and ready to go and popped in the oven. So see you in here in a minute. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our green beans ready to pop in the oven. So I've got them on a sheet pan. Now I lined my sheet pan with some tin foil. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it just, you know, the cleanup's a lot easier. So what we're going to do, now these are just frozen green beans, and I let them set out for a little bit so they're not as frozen. And we're going to drizzle some olive oil on these. Now if you don't want to use your hands, don't use your hands, but I'm going to use my hands, get this olive oil mixed up all really good into that. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take these, let me get them. Alright, put my hands up a little bit. We're going to take them, we're going to put them in this gallon bag here. Now if you want to do that on the sheet pan, go ahead. But for me, this is a little easier. Alright, that's good enough. Okay, so we're going to set this aside, we're going to set this aside. Now we're going to mix up our Parmesan cheese. So we've got, about a quarter cup of breadcrumbs, give or take. We're going to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese to that, some garlic powder, and some onion powder. Alright, and then we're just going to mix this up. Then we're going to get us some salt and pepper. Salt and pepper to that. Alright, get that mixed up really good. Just like that. Alright, so we're going to take and we're going to dump our Parmesan cheese and everything in there, and I'm going to add a little bit more Parmesan cheese. I like the cheese, and if you know, yeah, there we go. So we're going to go ahead and seal that up. I'm just going to move that around, get the stuff in there nice and coated up. Now, if you want for this, for the steak and Cajun shrimp sauce. You don't want, this is more on the line of a low carb meal. So if you want something that you're not worried about your carbs, hey, make you some mashed potatoes and some gravy with it. That shrimp sauce will be really good on some mashed potatoes. All right, so we got those coated. We're gonna put those back onto our, whoop, I'm making a mess here, Mark, way to go. We're gonna put these back onto our sheet pan. Just like that. All right, and we're just gonna even that out a little bit. Now this is ready to go in the oven. And I've got the oven set for 250. We're going to cook them for about 20 minutes. That'll give everything time to, you know, get heated up, nice and done. So we're going to pop this in the oven here in a little bit. All right, so let's put our green beans in the oven. Like I said, I've got it at 350. We're going to cook them for about 20 minutes. So let's get our steaks ready. All right, so let's get our steak ready. So we're going to add a little bit of olive oil. We're going to rub that in. Put that over, do the same thing. Now, I like my steaks medium rare. If you don't want to make your steak medium rare, by all means, don't do that. All right, so let me wash my hands. With our steak, what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. And then we're going to add my Chase Your Taste Cajun seasoning. Now you can use whatever Cajun seasoning you want, but I made mine. So we're going to just add a little bit of this on there. Now I said a little bit. Actually, we're going to put a lot on there because you want to over season it, because if you don't, what happens is when you get to cooking it, it will you're going to lose about a third of it. So we're going to pat it down a little bit, add some little bit more. All right, now we're going to flip it over. Do the same thing on this side. Add a little salt and pepper. Now the Cajun seasoning's got some salt in it too, and some pepper. So I'm gonna make this a little spicier because I'm gonna put some red pepper flakes in the sauce. So now you don't have to use the Cajun seasoning. Use whatever seasoning you want. If you have your favorite steak seasoning, by all means use your own steak seasoning. But this one's gonna be mine. Yeah, that looks good. Cut that down a little bit. Now what we're going to do is going to take our steak here. We're going to pat it down, get those edges, a little bit on that plate there, so we can get these edges done too. Yeah, there we go. Roll it around in it. Yeah. Okay, so I have my pan on, getting it nice and hot. All right, so that's ready to go. So we'll see you over at the stove. All right, so we got our pan nice and hot. So the first thing we're going to add to it is some olive oil. About a tablespoon of olive oil. That moved around in there. Whoop, made a mess. Way to go, Mark. Yeah, if you ain't making a mess, you ain't cooking, right? All right, so we got that nice and hot. So we're gonna add our steaks. Now, when you add your steak, I'm gonna say what old Chef Ramsay always says: lay that steak away from you and listen to that sizzle. Now, we're not going to bother that steak. We're going to let it cook. So what we're doing is we're looking for that nice little crust on the bottom of that. See that crust? So we're going to take and we're going to flip that over. We're going to let that cook a little bit longer on that side. And then we're going to add our butter and our aromatics to this. Alright, so we're going to look at the bottom. That looks good. So what we're going to do, we're going to take and we're going to try to do the edges a little bit. Just hold it down there a little bit. Let the edges get nice and cooked up a little bit. Hold those juices in there. Shouldn't take very long. Flip it over. So, now what we're going to do, we're going to take and we're going to add our aromatics. So we're going to add some garlic. And I've got 4 garlic cloves. I'm going to add some rosemary and some thyme. And I'm going to add some butter. Yeah, there she goes. Alright, so we're going to get that butter melting. A little bit more olive oil. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put that in there. You want that nice aromatics on there. Alright, so I'm going to push this up here. We're going to tilt it a little bit. I'm going to baste our steak. Put that butter and stuff on there. We're going to turn that over so we can baste that other side. That looks good. Alright, so we're going to take that off the stove, off the fire. Alright, so we're going to pull our steaks off. We're going to put it on the plate. We'll take our aromatics, put those on there for now. Look at that, doesn't it look good? Alright, so we lost a piece of garlic. So we're going to set that aside. Alright, so for our shrimp, we're going to add a little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. Some onion powder and some garlic powder, just a little bit. Get that mixed up. And then we're going to put this in our pan. Now we're going to cook these not quite done because it will really finish off in the Cajun sauce. So let's go back to the stove. Okay, so we're heating our pan back up. Now I'm using the same oil and everything that I used for the steak. I don't want to lose that flavor, but if you want to clean it out, use some more, that's fine. I'm going to put a little bit of butter in there. We're going to let that butter melt. turn the oven off. The green beans should be done. Alright, so we're going to put in our shrimp. Get those evened out down there. Now we're only going to cook the shrimp, like I said, just a few minutes. We don't want to overcook it, so just about a minute on one side. We're going to flip it over about a minute, and then we're going to pull it off, and then we'll pull our Cajun sauce together, and then we'll put them back in, let that Cajun sauce finish them up. Now some people go ahead and cook their shrimp all the way through, but I want that Cajun sauce to absorb into that, into the shrimp. You can see that the shrimp is not quite done. I'll flip them over. You don't want to overcook your shrimp because it'll get rubbery. I've told you that in other videos. Alright, so we'll let that cook a couple minutes more. And we'll take those and put them back in our bowl. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and pull these off. Look at that. Can't go wrong with surf and turf, can you? Alright, so there's our shrimp. Set that aside. While that's going, we're going to add some chicken broth. Just probably about a half a cup of chicken broth. Now if I was doing this in a cast iron skillet, this is where it'll take all that stuff off the bottom. Okay, it's looking good. We'll add about a half a cup of whipping cream. And I forgot to put my onions in there, so I'm going to go ahead and put my onions in there and let those cook up. I usually do that right after I take the shrimp out, but I didn't do it. And while that's going, we're going to go ahead and add that garlic in there. So remember to do those onions and the garlic prior to. I mean, this will be all right. We'll let it cook down. If it cooks down too much, we can add a little bit more chicken broth. Here. Here we go. So while that's cooking up, we're going to go ahead and add a couple tablespoons of our Cajun sauce, our Cajun seasoning. We'll get that stirred in. And when you do that, make sure when you do your onions, make sure you put your garlic in just a little bit toward the end of them becoming translucent. If you don't, your onions are gonna, or your garlic's gonna burn. You don't want that. Okay, so since this has to cook a little bit because of the onions. I'll go ahead and add a little bit more chicken broth. We'll let it reduce down some more. So when this reduces down, we'll be right back. Alright, so our sauce has gotten thick. So what we're going to do to this sauce is we're going to add some red pepper flakes, give it a little bit more kick. Now if you want to even add more of a kick, hey, put some, what do you call it? I got a brain fart. Some cayenne pepper. That'll kick it up a little bit. So to this we're going to add about a quarter cup, maybe a little bit more Parmesan cheese. Get that stirred in. Like I said, now we're going to add, I'm going to turn our fire down a little bit. We're going to add our shrimp. Of course, I got it all over me. And we're going to let this cook just a little bit. Now I found that freshly grated Parmesan Reggiano cheese melts a little bit easier than, a lot better than that self-grated stuff, you know, the stuff that you buy already grated. So we're gonna let that simmer a little bit, and then we're ready to plate this thing up. All right, before we finish this up, I forgot something. We're gonna add a little bit of this lemon juice into there. There we go. We don't forget all kinds of stuff this time. That's all right. We'll get it stirred in. We're gonna let it cook up for about not even 5 minutes. Just long enough to get that shrimp done. So once this is done, we're gonna plate it. Okay, so what do you say we go ahead and plate this thing up? So we're gonna get a little bit of this. Get some shrimp here. Get some shrimp over the top of that. That sauce turned out really good. There's our shrimp. Put some of these green beans on there. Look at that. Oh, that looks good. Good for date night, anniversaries, anything like that. Come on, guys, treat your ladies. What do you say? A little bit of this Parmesan Reggiano on there. Look at that. I've got some chopped up chives here. Oh, look at that. Yeah. There you go. We have some steak with a Cajun shrimp sauce and some roasted Parmesan garlic or Parmesan green beans. Look at that. Doesn't that look delicious? So hey, give this a try if you like it. You know, hey, give me a thumbs up. And always remember to chase your taste.